All the way in Switzerland. And you're tuning into the Black Hat Fire Radio. It's massive. The Robinson, your brother there, reaching out to all the man on the African continent. And tuning into the Black Hat Show with your host,
Yes, family, karibuni sana right here on the Black Fire Network radio station. It's a throwback Thursday, and that's how we're starting our Thursday right here, of course, on today's show, which is the Pan-African Bliss Show. Karibuni sana. My name is Joby to all our amazing, amazing first-time listeners. Karibuni sana to the media of the 21st century, and of course, that is Madilu System Sansaya Pepa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly with the Congolese stamp or the accent, but I hope you got it correctly. And I hope majority of you are jamming to these songs, because I remember actually these are the jams we literally grew up listening, in the 19th, in the early 2000s, literally this is what our parents were jamming onto every weekday before you get into the Sunday services every Sunday morning, before you go to church. But karibuni sana once again. Hope you guys are doing amazing, and of course, welcome to another session of the Pan-African Bliss. I hope you guys are doing amazing once again, and of course, it is exactly 44 minutes past 12 p.m. right here in the 254. I don't know what's the time on your end, but in case you are at work and you tuned in, I appreciate and kindly consider subscribing in case you are on YouTube and you haven't literally subscribed to this channel. I remember yesterday we had a lot of people on the chat, and we had in the likes of Sister Bob, who she was saying that she's been looking for us for quite some time, and that's why we advise majority of you to also have our radio station app so that you can literally be in touch of what is happening. Because once you have the app, all you have to do is log in. You'll not miss any of the shows, and make sure to also the app takes you direct to our website. You can be able to communicate with the rest of the family, and also join our WhatsApp group if in case you have not. Shout out to everyone also with me on Facebook, on the radio station itself, and also everyone with me on Rumble and Spreaker Live, and also right here on TikTok. Karibuni sana. Today we shall be having an amazing conversation, more of literally teaching and knowledge. I'll be sharing a first video of Ivy Anita. I've not seen her do content actually for quite a while. We've been sharing our content, I think, throughout this year, early this year, and she's really grown so massively. She's been teaching young people, young youth, especially from the parts of Nigeria, because that's where she's located and coming from. Of everything that is happening, the presidents, the leaders we're dealing with, and all that. But there is a video I bumped into, and which has brought me forward, into this topic, and bringing more of the information, or digging much more of the information of what we're not taught today. Yesterday we were discussing about the system of education which has failed, which Keith was saying even right now in America, we have the Black history which is being erased from books because they do not want Black people to literally understand how much of the power they used to have, which we still have, but how they have manipulated this with majority of the things they have done. We're talking about in the likes of food, drinking water, a lot of nonsense that these white people, which you literally cannot fathom and understand who they really are. It's super crazy. Along that, I'll be sharing also a video which throughout this week literally I've been asking, what is the existence of who literally talks about the existence of a white man? Like, where do they come from? Do they even talk about their history? And yesterday, I remember I shared a very interesting video full of racism as well, where we had this white panel, saying that the white supremacy does not exist, and the white supremacy has been, a lot of nonsense that does not literally add up. But the true nature of the white men, this is just so true. They will never change. They are created to be who they are, racist, okay? Having the psychopathic type of mindset they have, okay, and they will never stop hunting down on African people, because it was the culture shock for me. Literally, it was literally the face of Anita Ivy, of how she was shocked, realizing that melanin color has a price tag on it. I mean, this is something I think Keith has been teaching us right here on the Black Hot Fire, especially for us, those who have been here, of how wealthy and how much of worth, even more than gold, our melanin color is. So we shall be discussing that. Usually that is our major discussion. I'm not dwelling on anything else politically. So today is all about just learning with the majority of the videos we have. Shout out to Kid. I see you in the building. Shout out to Africa Kid. Thank you so much for tapping the screen. And thank you to everyone also with me on YouTube. Karibuni sana. Hope you hit that like button, share this amazing content, educate your people, because if you look at majority also right here on the continent, outside the continent, Black people mentally, we've agreed and we've seen that we are being destroyed no matter where we are. This is actually an agenda to ensure that we collapse, especially as a generation. And they are doing this by where especially we see in the continent, and they promoted this especially with the Nollywood movies, the Nigerian movies of bleaching of the skin. So karibuni sana. This is our biggest discussion on the table, and of course I hope you guys get to enjoy. This is Malidu system again. Back in it, I'll be coming back with that. Hello to you, Africa Kid. Good morning to you too, kid. Good afternoon from Mike. To official senior. Karibuni sana. Let me know if you relate to Roga Roga. You remember Roga Roga? Citizen TV, Citizen Radio, literally every Sunday, if I'm not wrong, yeah? Roga Roga, literally, this was it. Yes, and my quote of the day as we get straight to the topic of today, and this to all Africans, because I think this is why we lost it, where we started, when we seen women, men, especially from the DRC Congo, and I'm glad I'm playing this music. I've seen men, and I remember we were making this as a joke with Kamlesh on one of the culture show, that you see you see these Congolese men who have bleached their skin and their lips are always super dark, like very dark. Like, how are you so light skinned, but only your lips and the knuckles, everything? It's just super crazy. But anyway, my quote of the day today says it's about self-respect. Never lose your self-respect for someone who don't care about your feelings and emotions. Just simple like that. Basically, because I think and I feel like this is what Africans have given themselves. When I speak about dignity again, when you speak about what I'm about to, share with you, and as we get to discuss bits of it, what I understand, what you understand, we've lost dignity to literally to the white man, where we've so much compared ourselves and wanted so much to be like the white men, not knowing that these people are poisoning our mind and wanting to be so much like us. It's literally the vice versa way. The vice versa. They want so bad to be like us, but we want to be so bad like them. I want to give a very perfect example. I think I was sharing this on the Wednesday lockdown session, I think last week, if I'm not wrong. I shared one of these videos and I discussed the whole topic of it, where I said Black people, we need to go back to who we really are. I shared of this young man who says he's 35 and he feels he's white. He started feeling like that since he was a teenager, and I actually expressed it where I feel like this is the same thing they're trying to push with the LGBTQ agenda, where it's just a feeling, what do you mean it's a feeling? This is a mental kind of crisis that you have in your head. You need to be checked. Something is wrong with you. You have full DNA of melanin, but you feel super dark, looking like a whole Sudanese, and pardon me, I'm not literally racist here against the Sudanese. I really love the color so bad, but you go back to us still you go back to the root of Africans, still claiming you are white. And the doctor was so actually honest with him. You're gonna look weird. You wanna spend money on the surgery and all that. And I'm like, where do you even get the money with the lack of and the underpayment which you were talking about yesterday? that the Black community have, especially in the United States and literally everywhere. We are underpaid in majority of the places. It's just super crazy. But let me get straight to it. I see Keith in the building. Let me go through a few comments right here on TikTok. Shout out to Maya. Thank you so much for tapping the screen. And of course, Karibu Sana. I see Fire is saying that you look like, oh no, thank you for the compliments, though. Don't compare me to Beyonce, though, okay? I'm just Joby. And I also see Kit says that sounds like it's Congolese music or Angola. It's Congolese, Malidu system, if I'm pronouncing their group name correct. Madilu system, yeah. These are some of the jams we grew up literally jamming to, especially for me, because most of the family from my mom's angle come from DRC. I've grown up to this, so I know and so much invested into the words. And I also see Simuya Supuya Omena, if I'm not wrong. Unasema show iko lit. Thank you so much, Karibu. So I'm just getting started, literally. And I also see Keith agrees with me on what I'm saying. Shout out to Frida Media Channel. Hope you're doing amazing. Shout out to Nyamboke. Shout out to Colasso God. Nice to see you back. Been a minute, and of course, welcome to today's conversation. Now, straight to this video. I loved Anita Ivy's reaction, trust me. I don't know if because the fact that I knew this before, because Keith has educated us a few of this, but this was so amazing to see a reaction and the shock she had on her face. Yes, melanin is more wealthy than gold. And yes, it has a price tag. Which is so wrong. But let's discuss this.
Color. You know that this is our skin color that this
per gram. What? Of course they won't. And I want to pause on that. This is going to be quite a long show. I'm going to take some time. It's going to be quite a long show. This is true. They want to speak of how Black is so inferior. And this is why they have brought up so much bleaching creams in Africa where it's continuously dumped. And none of these leaders, due to also, I don't know if it's miseducation, they do this on purpose to just destroy the people as well and to keep on creating cancer, which they don't even have enough funds to even cure cancer or even create any facilities that can literally be able to come up with any type of help. But it's true. They have ensured that Black is always considered inferior. The Black color is pathetic. Melanin is weird. If you're not light-skinned, you cannot. Come on. It is all a lie. It is all a lie.
Have a price tag.
And then talk about why we have so much child trafficking. I always want to go back and give an example of what we saw. A video Keith made me share one time on the show of where we had so many children. Again, I'm not sure if it was from Malawi or Chad on a plane. How did these children who are crying helplessly, wanting to literally be rescued, end up on a plane? Only Black children. Because if you talk about their own race, it makes sense why, I don't know if this makes sense, but with them, with their own race is just pedophilia in majority of the cases. But when it comes to the African kids, it's more than that. It's more than that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Shout out to UK Williams, I see in the building, and Karibu Sana. Chad, okay, I've been right all along. Yeah, we've been literally debating this, not really at mosquito, if it was Chad or it was Malawi or which country was it. But yeah, thanks for confirming.
Is there a price on why does our melanin?
Let me pause there. As I see StreamYard is hanging on my video. Let me try to share this again. Hi to you too, K. Williams. I see you. Welcome. You're saying that You're saying, well, this is the time, Joby. It is 4:56. You're getting ready for work. It is exactly 58 minutes past 12 p.m., 2 minutes to 1 p.m. So, yes, we are right here to get educated about our melanin. We need to educate, especially the Black people in the continent. Shout out to you, Sojiba Jaba. I see you. You're saying you're listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are doing amazing today, wherever you are, whether at work or at home, for taking your time and tuning in.
Who is collecting it?
The
Where
white
are they
people
collecting?
are.
That the
I really feel
so-called
bad because this is
Europeans are kicking against. Do you know that it's more valuable than gold? Do you know that melanin that gives our hair color, our eyes color, our skin? Do you know that is more valuable than gold? Melanin is 500 rate is 60.
Does our melanin have a price tag? That red flags, all I can see right now. So I Googled. I did. They are saying melanin is not being sold on the stock market. So where are they selling it? And who is buying it? Who buys all that today?
Yeah, it's my internet. I think I'll have to minimize the people I have logged in on the Wi-Fi so I can be able to share the video because it's really buffering a lot and I have to share this.
Melanin is worth over $445 a gram. At that rate, melanin is worth 390. Using it for not just a pigment or color. Melanin is an aromatic biopolymer and organic semiconductor. So from what I'm finding out right now, they are using it in technology, in like microchips and stuff like that.
Melanin pigment, right, is so unbelievable, George. They're using it in computer chips now because it has an ability to transduce
That's the way to go. If it's live, it buffers as well. That's for Spreaker. But anyway, I'm back. I see Juba Jaba is as a question, and you're saying that question, Joby, is it legally synthesized from aborted fetus or adult corpses for scientific or other uses? How is it sourced? I'll be sharing a video which explains that, where they're saying actually it is even used as a chip. They install it in a chip which is used to electrocute computers. Do you know how psychopathic that is? They use it in chips, and these chips are used in laptops or computers to power them. Let me continue. Let me share this actually. Let me just jump the Ivy Anita video. What she was basically asking, she was surprised and shocked of how the melanin color has a price tag on it, which is so wrong. Because I don't know how many of the black people, especially back in the continent, are aware of this, that this is happening. I don't know if majority of us have any clue of what our skin color is worth. We're so busy literally being brainwashed by the controlled media, and which is actually also happening on the ground. I remember again, I don't know if it still happens right now, but there was a time, there was so much effect of a lot, because if you're not light-skinned, you could not get opportunities. This is just a fact. Majority of us, like the dark-skinned, got affected in majority of the cases. I don't know, but this happened. I don't know if it still happens today, but this happened. I want to share this video which explains what Jiba Jaba is asking right here, and I love the debate itself, and of course I hope you're gonna learn something on it. And on the further note of it, we'll also be sharing another one which explains the pigmentation, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, of this people.
In reference to the releasing of the different hormones within the body, whether you're dealing wherever you are in terms of the glands.
No, let me start with the first one, which he explains what melanin in ancient kemet times, how it was used. Let me share this. This is the one that literally explains it all and better.
Greetings and welcome once again to the Melanin Chronicles. Chronicles, as you know, is an information journal on issues we believe critical to the survival of African and progressive people. I'm your guide, as usual, Yero Bandeli of the International Al-Kibalan Society. Today we have with us a guest who have been on our programs before several times, discussing the question of melanin, its relationship to intelligence, its relationship to the physical development.
Jibajaba K. Williams, and for those who are with me on YouTube, kindly let me know if my video is buffering, but I see it's not. So I hope we're good. I hope we are okay.
And how that process was internalized and used in the social fabric of the ancient Kemetic culture and society. We're going to be looking today at the spiritual aspect of that process, how through symbolisms and other means of manifestation that melanin and the concepts contained were actually practiced. So we have with us again a person who I've heard people, because he's been on our programs so many times dealing with the subject, have dubbed him the Melanin Man. His name is Booker T. Coleman. He's a staff developer and curriculum writer, and we want to welcome him back again to the Melanin Chronicles.
Thank you, Hotep.
Welcome back.
All right.
Okay, sure, Jaba. I sure will. All right.
Say that because I was talking to a mutual acquaintance, and he was I was saying you were going to be on the program, and he said to me, "Oh yeah, the Melanin Man. Yeah, we know who you're talking about." So I just mentioned that. In our three previous discussions, we've talked about melanin, its role in physical development, mental development, and I think the last time we were here, we touched briefly on the spiritual aspect, how that manifests in ancient Kemetic culture.
Okay.
For, again, the audience who may might have caught one piece or none at all. Can you kind of sum up for us the first three parts that we discussed, and then kind of give us an opening as to how you deal with looking at it and its relationship to spiritual development?
Sure. And, I'd like to thank you for inviting me back. And as we spoke earlier when we first began, we said that there was no way we could do this in one presentation. And this is why, we broke it down into four. And I'm also happy to hear people call me Melanin Man, because everywhere I go, my brother, I always emphasize the fact that in order to understand ourselves as a people, you have to understand the mothership. The mothership is melanin. Melanin is the cornerstone to all life, in not just on our earth, but in the universe and in everything that we see manifesting itself. And the first two times I came really was a piece that dealt with the physical. Because as you said earlier, I look at melanin. In fact, our ancient Kemetic ancestors, Native American peoples in the ancient world, the world that is grounded in nature, always looked at things from a physical perspective, a mental perspective, and a spiritual perspective. And everything had its place within these three parameters.
Mm-hmm.
And so our first two presentations, we talked about the physical aspects of it, the fact that melanin is found in every part of our body, that it is in the rivers and the oceans and the lakes. It's an organic life. And the carbon atom, we began with looking at what it is that it's built from. And we looked at the carbon atom and the fact that it is in fact a black atom. And that when you bring enough of these atoms together, impacting on other atoms or elements, if you want to call them that, basically being nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen, carbon being introduced to this concept then begins to make multiple types of molecules. And in coming from the melanin molecule, bringing the melanin molecule together, you then have melanosomes. And each time from the carbon atom, we're getting from its smallest structure. When you put carbon atoms together, it becomes a molecule, which becomes the melanin molecule. When you put enough melanin molecules together, they are then encased in what is known as a melanosome, which is a granule found within the system. And then out of the melanosomes then make up what is known as the melanocyte.
I'm good, K. Williams.
And the melanocyte is the cell. It's the melanin cell. And then that's what produces the many things that we now see. So in the first two parts, we looked at the physical aspects. We had instructional supplies that showed how we teach our children this concept, because to me, I'm an educator. And everything that I look at that I learned from people such as John Henry Clark and from Dr. Joseph Ben Yikkinen and from Dr. Richard King, I try to then develop it into a curriculum for children, because nothing we learn should just be held within ourselves, particularly as an adult. So what I do is I then try to break this down and see where in the curriculum this then fits. So then we found that you can teach melanin when you're dealing with astronomy, you can teach it when you're dealing with chemistry or physics. But where in the curriculum does it fit? It fits when we're talking about biology, when you're teaching about the structure of the eye. There's no way that you can understand how the eye functions if you don't understand the essence of what makes you see. You have rods and cones. Rods is what looks at black and white images, and cones then decipher what is in color. Those do not function without retinal melanin. You would not be able to see without melanin. In your ear, in your inner ear, you would not be able to hear. You would not have balance. So I wanted to show how, when we're teaching about the parts of the body, we can also teach about melanin.
Hi, Joe Mosquito. I'll try share it in the span of the time if we can.
The third part, you asked an interesting question going into the third piece when you spoke about, well, I had mentioned something about it being a doorway to the collective unconscious, which then dealt with another aspect of what melanin does, which then goes into the mental piece. So the last time we were together, we tried to talk about the role that melanin plays in being the fuel for mind abilities and control. And again, I want to say, as you said in the first part, and I'm sorry I have to keep repeating this, but I believe that white supremacy makes us constantly have to revert back to me having to say that I am not talking about superiority or inferiority of the human being. That the presence of melanin does not make one superior, but the presence of it, if aware of it, gives you the potential to be as great as you'd like to be.
True.
So I say this only because it scares people when we talk about intellect and we talk about melanin and we talk about the greatness of it, particularly when one group has a whole bunch of it and another group has very little of it. Not only do they have a very little bit of melanin, although they do have it, they don't have the ability. So that became another piece. Melanin is a byproduct.
Now, when you say a little bit unlike, you're talking about in terms of how it manifests.
Illnesses and diseases that we have today come directly out of the fact that our immune system cannot fight the diseases that are coming into us or that we manifest, the illnesses that we have. With the presence of melanin, understanding how you can energize yourself, understanding your body in relationship to melanin, there are actual things that you can do to heal yourself. And African folk do it every day and we don't even realize. And in fact, if you were to cut yourself and you have something, you see the brown form around your skin, that's actually melanin. That's a doctor, that's an internal doctor healing you. Because if you did not have the ability to heal yourself, you would die of a loss of blood.
Sure.
So, I mean, all of these things are wonderful. You're
implying also a role there that foods and diet plays in this.
No question. Food is like what we take internally. There are many different ways that you can develop melanin or improve the process of developing melanin. And the food that you take plays a role, the music that you listen to, the friends and the people that you associate with, your stress level and how you deal with it. If you are a person of a spiritual background that can move your problems aside, all determines. Food, I mean, when you look at food, very important piece, vegetables, is a very important thing to eat. In particular, something that I enjoy eating is collard greens. And collard greens is very rich in tyrosine. Tyrosine is an amino acid. The enzyme is tyrosinase. Now, tyrosinase as an enzyme is like a catalyst battery that gets this process of melanin going. So that when you have this fundamental principle within you and you are feeding your body the proper fuels, you then will help this process of the development of melanin go on. So in just looking at it, understanding us as an African folk, what we should be doing is looking at eating things that are green, things that have chlorophyll, because that's very chlorophyll in itself is a manifestation of what melanin would produce into organic life, and is the best. The less you cook, the more nutrients you keep in it. In fact, many times people steam vegetables. Well, in fact, at the end of steaming vegetables, you could throw the vegetables out and drink the liquid, and that would be where all the powerhouse is. So melanin plays a very important role in all, and there are ways that there are even foods that you should eat at certain times.
Sure.
And you go by nature. African folk many years ago, and even today, that has not been contaminated by Western civilization, know what to eat, know when to eat it, know the season. Nobody should be eating watermelon in December.
Sure.
Watermelon is not indigenous to the planet Earth in December. It doesn't grow it. However, in our intelligence,
That's the first video over there, and you had the explanation, which I totally love. This something very, very interesting to learn, and literally very, very important, especially to the Afrocentric education. If we talk about the education, the type of education we need to have, which I was discussing about yesterday. This what should be introduced. So you see someone like it has been forced to eat and drink correctly, because you have to keep the melanin in check. Yeah, you have to keep that melanin in check. It literally starts with the next video I'll be explaining is going to be talking about where you need to. It is important to sun gaze, which this talks about, which he just described on how melanin through sun gazing. I think it's where it helps you fight the body's diseases and gives you the energy to fight the body diseases or the diseases in the body, if it makes sense to you. But I see Keith on TikTok says that melanin also heals the body stores energy, and that's why you could fly, shoot fire out of your body. Exactly what you're trying to show HR and Kamlesh the other day. And also see you saying, and also so many other things. That is true. And you're also saying that melanin is the God genetics, and that is a fact. And I also read General Mosquito's comment. People say that it doesn't take a superior. It doesn't make us superior, and that's not our fault, blame. That's not our fault, blame the creator. Okay, and also you're saying exactly 100% our diet was supposed to be more fruits and vegetables, but we don't do that anymore. Shout out to Yeches, Karibu sana, nice to see you. Hello to you too. And also see we have Julie, hello to you too. And Joe Mosquito says that more Dr. Pepper for no more Dr. Pepper for him. And also see you saying thank you so much for the compliments, Yeches, I appreciate. And yeah, let me share the next video which he explains. He has so many videos. I think he's been interviewed in a lot of discussions regarding melanin, and that's why I see they are nicknaming him the melanin guy, because he has so much knowledge. And on this video actually he says that this takes actually much time, and I now believe it when he says this actually takes so much time and you need to be so much invested, especially consciously. You need to be ready to learn all this, because it's a lot of information to take in, which majority of it is shocking. This is why you see someone like Ivy Anita, she's super shocked. She's like, how is it that melanin has a price tag on it? It doesn't make sense, How is it that they're selling melanin 1 gram at 500 and whatever dollars that they are, which is so wrong. But this guy explained it all. Let me share it. Shout out to you, Jesse. Nice to see you as well. Karibu sana.
In reference to the releasing of the different hormones within the body, whether you're dealing wherever you are in terms of the glands, the pineal gland being the uppermost, the topmost piece, coming down to the pituitary, and then you have the parathyroid and adrenal and all the other glands that you have. So there's a relationship that melanin has from the very beginnings of the organism itself. The zygote that forms into 3 different areas: the endoderm, the ectoderm, and the mesoderm, which basically is that round piece that later becomes the fetus. Melanin, from the very moment of birth, in fact, is almost looked upon as if it is the organizing agent for all of the life that comes out of it. But there is another piece to melanin that I felt was very important that you had brought up the last time, and that is the psycho-spiritual dynamics of melanin and the role that it plays in terms of the human organism. Looking at the birth of peoples, the human family as we know it coming out of Africa, looking at the 6 different families of humanity that came out of its life history, beginning with the 2 Australopithecines. You had Australopithecus gracile and Australopithecus robustus. Out of this, the formation, the thought process of this human in developing him and herself, then moved it to the stage of Homo habilis. Homo habilis being human of ability. This individual started to make tools, again, with the relationship of the sun to
let me know if you are on YouTube, if you guys can see, or if you have a buff. I think we have a buff. Let me know.
to the human, the relationship of the light and heat energy to the pineal gland began to sophisticate this human, began to have this human, African in nature, male and female, look around him and herself and develop a way of creating life, which brought them to higher levels of consciousness. Again, all of these activities, all of these experiences and insperiences is being recorded within the gene pool. So a human being walking the earth today by all nature should be carrying his and her collected unconscious. Every ancestor.
Let me just stop that a little bit because I see why the internet is really this bad. All of the internets are just messed up. This is crazy.
If not there, billions of years. Because when we get all of this together, we're going to go far back beyond what Western science is teaching us. When we look at African information, and I'm talking about African information, not just in Kemet. It's so important to understand that in West Africa, there were just as dynamic classical African civilizations in the Nok culture of Nigeria that were contemporary to the classical civilization of ancient Kemet. We tend to think that all civilizations occurred at one point and that that's all it was. And Dr. John Henry Clark teaches us, don't get caught up in Egypt. Don't get caught up in Kemet, because you're going to find that all of Africa had dynamic civilizations coming out of this relationship of melanin to the human organism, constantly perfecting, bringing them up to higher levels of thinking.
I think, though, that much of the focus as far as this information is concerned has focused on the Nile Valley cultures.
Yes, exactly.
And as you're saying that there are parallel civilizations
Sure.
that express the same level of development that
Exactly.
you find
Exactly.
in the Nile Valley cultures.
Sure.
There is a question, and this has always been a question that I think a lot of people wrestle with, particularly in an environment where you still have a very strong commitment to religions and Christianity, particularly in the West. This whole question of the developers of the sciences, the mathematics, the different disciplines that have been handed down throughout the world, that coming out of an African origin and development. Dr. King talks about in chapter 1 of his book, this whole issue of the black dot. The black dot being, as he puts it, a doorway to collective consciousness. What is he saying in a basic sense?
Sure.
So that, a regular person can deal with the information.
As we go through this evening, I'm going to show you different illustrations, but one illustration that I'd really like to show, this comes out of Dr. King's book. This is showing basically where the pineal gland could be found in the head. What he's saying is that if you go to the center of your head, and you will see many peoples of Indian background, when I say Indian, I mean from India, who practice a particular faith system, and you will see that they will have maybe a dot, a black dot in the center of their forehead, or they may have a gem in their forehead. This is representation of that particular doorway, that black dot, that entrance to the pineal gland, that light and heat energy from the sun directly comes. And as we go through the human forms of history, you see that as humanity began Homo erectus in standing up, Homo erectus then created a straighter line that the sun would have directly to the pineal gland. Once stooped over, humanity didn't get the full benefit of the light heat energy. Therefore, consciousness rose, but it didn't rise at the level that once Homo erectus raised themselves, him and herself, the light rays had more of a relationship with the pineal gland, which then brought them to the Homo sapien, and then finally into the Homo sapiens sapien stage. The pineal gland is a very important gland in the body. Probably, even though the pituitary gland is considered the master gland, the pineal gland is almost the master of the master. It is the regulator of many of the important hormones. In particular,
Almost, or it is. I think he's wrong when he says it is almost, because it is the master of the masters.
Melatonin and serotonin. And for those who are up on what melatonin is going on now in the country,
Ametoka. Join akimikisha maliza.
it's a big thing. African folk process melatonin very freely. They have no problem, whereas
that can be better. Okay.
Peoples of a European background have a more difficult time in developing melatonin, which has to do with the sleep process, aging process, and the reproductive process, all three of which African folk really have no problem in. So the concept, and now they're getting into serotonin with women who are going through PMS, because they're really trying to offset the melatonin that everybody's overdosing on. Now they're trying to get to serotonin, which is released during the day. The pineal gland in the front would be right in the center. If you looked at the side, it would be right there. So therefore, practically speaking, if you were to draw a straight line right into the middle of your head and then go into the top middle of your head and go directly down, your pineal gland basically would be the intersecting points, perfect intersecting points found in your brain. The importance of this, of course, is that in ancient Kemet and in ancient Ethiopia, in fact, in Ethiopia, they had the double uraeus. The uraeus, of course, being the cobra. This snake being the wide. Now you can also find this in India, which clearly shows the relationship that India had, the Dravidian brothers and sisters had with their Kemetic brothers and sisters on the other side. So you can see the relationship by the nature of the symbolism that's carried from one area to another. Not to mention, of course, the animal itself is indigenous to Africa. It is not indigenous to India. It's indigenous to Africa. And But the pineal gland is represented in the uraeus, the protector. So that is why we have so many snakes here, because coming from an illustrative point of view, working with children and with adults trying to teach these concepts, I try to be as close to them as possible. So it's important that we look at the snake and the role that the uraeus played. Now, Dr. King also...
It's a video. You can come to YouTube and check out. It's a video explaining about the melanin color, more of the melanin color, the powers that the ancient kemet people literally used to use this melanin color, and how much of the energy it could generate, which majority of the people call it witchcraft today. You know, if you have the ability to either manipulate energy in a good way or a bad way, it's witchcraft in today's society in Africa today.
In one of his chapters deals with another very important symbol, and this is what we call raw light, raw bright. And we're taking a closer look at the concept of the pineal gland. But there's much deeper symbolism in this, and this is really what I want to get to. Because it is the pineal gland, as he says, it's the all and everything. And it's by means of this system of symbols that the story and the metaphor of the importance of melanin in the body takes place. It's not just practical, but it's also theoretical, and it deals with metaphysics. The way in which African folk would look at this, the scholars, they would take it into three ways. Number one, they're looking at melanin in a way to explain the purpose of the universe and how the cosmos came into being. They also know that this information responds to an innate need that humans have on the level of being a masterpiece or divinely conscious, to find the need to understand why
You're really funny. I like you. You're funny.
they're in the cosmos in the first place. So this symbolism here shows the direct relationship that this information has to the pineal gland. In the first one, you have the uraeus. The uraeus is sending almost from its pineal gland into the first figure of the pharaoh or the human being, sending in light and heat energy into the pineal gland. So the Kemites had to have known the importance of the pineal gland. They had to have known its function in terms of what it released. They had to have known that it is melanin based, that in fact that it is melatonin released, and then a melatonin type base or a carbon based substance known as serotonin is released during the day. Melatonin is responsible for our dreams at night, and serotonin is responsible for our thoughts, our daydreams during the day.
I want to add to that point, because in going through the book in preparation for the dialogue that we're having, there are some key things there that I felt was important to add in terms of the actual words that come from the book as we explain in practical terms. So I want to pick up on what you just said in terms of the African knowing the relationship.
Yes, and that is the second last video. And of course, as I share the last one, as we get closer to winding up, I see Jiba Jabba says that all these idiots skin bleaching are nuts and self-hating. Well, I really can't. I don't know if I should really blame, especially at this point, especially right now in 2023. I think I should call it ignorance. At first, it's because people were not educated. There was a lot of misinformation about the melanin skin. And again, it takes us back where we say we still have some slavery cultures, slave type of cultures still being, they're actually very active in Africa. But one of them is where we have girls shaving off their hair in school, which is mandatory in most of the schools from the rural areas. We have women bleaching their skins. And this is because, again, like I'm saying, there's a time in the society where you could not get an opportunity if you're not a light-skinned woman. And this is true, and this is a fact. I don't know the majority of the people were affected, but I believe.
That was all of Africa. It wasn't like, so what you're saying is not a lie. That's what Rumi Zai was talking about in Zimbabwe, because you've been conquered by white people, and then you've seen white people as your God. So you affiliated the color of the skin with being superior. So now you set up your own civilization to discriminate against yourself, because they came in with discrimination, and these puppets have continued that instead of healing the society. So people run around Africa, since they're so ignorant now, based on so much ignorance, not even know who they are anymore. They practice self-destructive behavior and self-hate, because it's a hatred of self, because that's what the European brought you. Self-hate, a hatred of black, hatred of who you are. That's why you hate your hair. You got
girls being cut bald-headed in schools because of self-hate, of hate who they are as African women. It's absolutely absurd. And the sad part is that the African has not had enough self-respect, and we're talking about your respect again, to change the systems of oppression, supposing that you got independence. You haven't even changed these systems of oppression that derange your own culture, that derange you as a people, that have you clinically insane. Well, you got black people that have bleach in their skin. Told you, I never seen no skin bleach until I got to New York. And I seen the Jamaicans do it. I said, what is this? What is this shit? It's bleaching cream, man. It's what we do. They put the bleach in the cream. What? You put this shit on your face and on your body? I never even heard of bleaching cream in my life. First time I ever seen it. I'm not lying. When I had this girl I was dating named Desiree. Shout out to Desi, man. That girl was wonderful. Jamaican sister from that lived up in Queens. Jamaican family that migrated up to New York. You got a big Jamaican population in New York. And so I never even knew what bleaching cream even was. I'm like, is that real? So
yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to Jabba. I think we can say at the beginning this was the puppets to blame, and where there was miseducation, especially towards the African people, hating themselves, where self-hate was so much promoted and all that. But again, right now I'm saying in 2023, I think it's ignorance. I'd call it ignorance if you have someone who's still bleaching, because you've seen
it's ignorance because you haven't been taught. You don't know. It's ignorant because no one's been taught this. You haven't been taught who you are. So you now you worship everything but what? Go ahead.
Not really, but we've seen how right now bleaching has led to a lot of skin cancer, which actually has been on. I remember there's a time I reported, I think in Africa, or there was an article releasing that, especially amongst the Black community, both in Africa and in diaspora, there's a lot of skin cancer on the rise. Literally, cancer itself, and you'll find majority of this is skin, and this is due to bleaching. So if you see literally your family member or you had someone died because of this, whether it's from news or where, why don't you stop with the bleaching and just go back to who you really are? Because I feel like right now most of the people will still continue
because like you said, Joby, your society is deranged because only light-skinned people could get jobs. So people bleaching to try to get jobs and economic stability, right? So if that's the case, that's why people with skin bleach, because they see that society values lighter Africans. That's what you value. So that's what you're valuing. So so I'm gonna do everything I can do to try to get a job or whatever kind of position by bleaching, because that's now what's valued in society. That's how deranged the African has become, that he values things that are non-African. So much that the society, colonialism has destroyed African people's minds so much that it's destroyed you as a people. Now that you value things that are not even you. That's how absurd, and people have made billions of dollars off your self-hate. Billions of that skin bleaching shit is $1 billion business because of your mind, because your minds are fucked up. Your minds are destroyed through colonialism. Don't know you have self-hate. You ain't know the value of melanin, what it does. Oh, you've been told, and now your society has been told this is bad to have melanin. Oh, you must get light skin. Light skin is the way to be. Not understanding how valuable melanin is and what it does, its properties, while white people need it to survive and try to steal it from you, you trying to erase it out your body, like, just crazy.
It's crazy. But let me go to the comments on TikTok. I see Steppers in the building. Aswale agreeing with me on the point I gave. And also, you're saying that, but nowadays people are appreciating melanated queens. Yeah, they are, but are they appreciating themselves? We have men who appreciate dark-skinned women, trust me. Because I say, sorry to say, white people will come. We grew up with this notion of they like painting, like, paintings. They like, dark skin. That is their type. I remember there's a time my grandma told me they like people like you. You should get married to a Mzungu. I'm like, hell yeah. Okay. But the question is, we have people appreciating it, but are they appreciating themselves? That's the question. And also see, because it's not even also the kings, the kings also reaching themselves. I mean, perfect example I gave is the DRC Congolese men. And I think the other parts, also Nigerian, I've seen some Nigerian men bleach as well. Damn.
No, that's society. Most of them, though, it's the self-hate, Sylvia. They have not, the Africans in Africa have not dealt with the self-hate in their society. That comes from the top down, from the puppets. The whole society's been corrupted by white supremacy. It's not changed that. Until you change that, have a governmental policy of self-love, your society is deranged. You have a deranged society. Then we would have in America, it's deranged.
Steppers also say that blackout fire, okay. Okay. Bidii kwako, ukipata ni sawa. Bidii kwako. So he also says that no, I'm okay. I'm not like that. Not like that. And also John Mosquito says that men love black women as you should. And also Swale says that mliamua hata tusiposikiza tukue incited by you. Come on. Stepper says that bleaching uka yellow. That's what people are doing, man. Have you seen? I don't get it, especially with the Muslim women. They are already light, but they always want to go deeper into bleaching themselves. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Thank you so much for following the host, and also see Tiger. Hey, thank you all for the love and the compliments. Thank you, I appreciate. John Mosquito says I blame Nollywood for all this bleaching epidemic.
And it's funny, Nollywood intensifies the damn problem because of the self-hate within the Nigerians. Nigerians are some of the worst self-hating black people on the planet, and that's right. They even terminate, even when they created their own institution instead of uplifting African people. Their culture is what? Deranged. So they make what? Deranged movies with people there with skin bleaching and shit. And everybody's like it. So you can't uplift African people when your own culture is deranged.
True.
Your own culture is self-hating. So until you learn to, that's why, as a government, since the Europeans came in as a government destroying you, you're supposed to have a government now completely have an Afrocentric education, and then validate your own people, validate who you are as a people. You're supposed to validate that through your society, which you still have never done to this day. You still haven't done it. Nowhere in Africa have they done it. Not one African country has validated themselves as African. Not fucking one. This is this shit is criminal. That means you're still a slave. You're still a no good slave. You're mentally enslaved. That's what you are. That's why you got skin.
So I see you saying you're telling Job Mosquito ati ana confused Nollywood gas na Congolese. Not really. What's Job Mosquito you're being questioned, or what Swale is trying to tell you is that you're confusing the Nollywood and the Congolese, but it is globally, trust me, where we have black men,
he's not confusing. We know the skin bleach all throughout African society. So I just told you about Jamaicans and people down on the islands. Skin bleach, those are Africans. They got the same mental mindset as the people in Nigeria, the same people that were doing in South Africa and Kenya and everywhere else. It wouldn't work if he wasn't mentally messed up. That's why he's selling. But it's $1 billion business.
True. That is true. That is so true. I think Nollywood, especially on the movies, if you watched Afro Cinema Sana, catch up, like it really promoted a lot of it. You could see just women bleaching in the movies. Now they are going to the city. They are now the ones popping the thing, like they're now billionaires because of just light in your skin and all that. It's crazy.
And that's the image. And if that's the image that you put out there that effectively moves is mind control. If you don't know, you don't understand what it does. That's influence. That's called mind control. So now they go straight to your subconscious. Look, that's what it means to be famous. Look at the Nollywood. I must bleach to get a job and have what I need. That's why Joby believed all Nigeria was full of glamour. So when so Joey was just like Anita Ivy, however her name is, about the melon. Joey was surprised about that shit river in Lagos, right next to Burna Boy and Wiz Kid's house.
I'm sharing the videos right here so you guys can check them out later. I love that culture shock. Like, she was really shocked. Like, what do you mean? Like, melanin has a place? I really love the expression of her.
That's all. We've all known that for years. She's all, but see, that's how late. She's in Africa. That's how late. I've taught that for years. You know, the price of melanin, what it is per gram. She's in Africa. Just now learned that. That's how deranged the African culture has been because of colonialism, the domination of a people. But 60 years of independence, why has no one righting those wrongs? Why are these books about who you are? You mean tell me none of these leaders have come across any of this information in 60 years? They don't know none of this stuff we're talking about? That's impossible. That's impossible. That means the white man told him, Negro, you don't put that in no book, and you don't tell nobody nothing you know. You keep your mouth shut. That's what you do.
You're gonna be Gaddafi. No mosquito says
exactly. You're gonna be Gaddafi.
The Congolese bleach for no reason. I don't even think they know why they bleach. I know. I mean,
they know why they bleach, you know, mosquito. You self-hate because of being black. What do you mean they don't know? They do know. They know they want to be white. What do you mean? They know why they bleaching their skin. They know what they're doing.
Let me tell you, the crazy part, especially with black people, is when you start bleaching and you don't have the funds to maintain the bleaching.
Exactly. And you got spots, just like that lady y'all see in Tanzania with her knuckles and neck was black.
I had an aunt, and shout out to her, man. The one who was asking me for $200. This one was a whole mzungu of the family. I'm like, yo, you just changed from looking like me to a whole mzungu because you have money. Because she didn't know how to use the funds, you know, she went broke and now she's looking more darker than she was, man. This is just super crazy. But
that's what self-hate does to you, Joby.
That's to a point now you start walking with capes because you're ashamed of what people seeing sunburns on your face and all your skin is all now raggedy looking, all old and all that. Come on, be better, you know.
Hey,
I also see Stepper says that Waswahili, they do the mkorogo, they wanna look Arabic. Yeah, they do that. I don't know where they get the chemicals and all that, especially in Mombasa, that is so common. They just mix them, all of it, and then they start selling and they make money out of it. Trust me, these people are really making money out of it, you know.
Making money out of people being deranged.
John says that, Joby, I do love black women, but that's not what I said. I said I love black. I just added the women. Come on. And I also see Swale says that nime umeni okay. And Nico single. John Mosquito says in Nigeria, even if they are born light skinned, they still want to bleach. That's what I was trying to say. I've seen that also right here in Kenya. Like, most of the people are light skinned already. They want to do more, to look more pale, like more pale, to the point you can't doubt that this person was ever dark or even dark anywhere. This is just crazy. And also see Fire Karibu Sana. You're saying loyal to the dollar. Exactly. Also see Stepper says that people go to an extent of going for plastic surgery. The worst. The worst. And it's so sad I see right now black women doing it. I think the best I'd prefer is liposuction. Is it called like that? Liposuction? Something like that. If that's the name. Yeah, I'd prefer that, especially if you are a whole fat woman. Like, release those fats from your stomach. Don't put on heels. Then, the next minute the heels are breaking, like a video I saw somewhere. You can't. The heels even can't hold you because of your weight. Such a shame. It's quite bad. Maintain yourself. Literally, there's a video I was watching which also explains the more you take, like the ones I've just shared, the more you take care of your body, what you eat, what you consume, how you treat your body is the reciprocation of how long you can literally live. That's melanin. And I also see on the YouTube channel, we got Jiba Jaba says that thanks for covering this topic. Thank you so much for also listening. And you're also saying that my mom used it on dark spots on her face for a time. Well, it doesn't literally work, trust me, because if it were to work, trust me, that aunt of mine, because I used to hate the fact that I have dark armpits, but which till I came to realize this is a normal thing, and literally you can use some natural herbs like, lemon. It's supposed to be lemon and baking powder, which you apply maybe every day, or tomato and baking powder, or tomato, you just apply on your armpits and they lighten up. You don't need to use none of these chemicals to lighten the dark spots like what we have today. So it is crazy. It is crazy. And also saying that, okay, I have a better understanding now. And just saying, and Mzungu got to go tanning salon to become darker. I mean, imagine, I saw a video, I don't know majority of you have seen it on maybe on TikTok or any of the social media. Thank you so much, Light to Long and Karibu Sana. Thank you so much for tapping the screen. I don't know how many of you saw the Chinese who are now making their hair to look like African. I'll share the image of it. I screenshotted it. They're now going to the barber shops and now trying to make their hair look Afro. Now Afro is now more beautiful than the slimy one. I thought you were trying to convince people to put on chemicals to look like you. Now they're trying to go all Afro. Those are Chinese we're talking about. Super crazy. And also see campfire, you're saying same with the wigs. Well, on that, personally, I do agree, but on the case of where, like what I'm trying to say, when you look at most of the rural schools we have right here in Africa, we have very active mode of slavery of where students need to shave their hair. That is self-hate reflected there directly, which will make you admire the white, like, wow, I used to say, I have admitted it. I used to look at the white women and I'm like tiptoeing my toes. I'm like, yo, look at the blonde there. So this is how I'm going to have when I go to heaven. Like, I'm going to go blonde, That's the kind of mentality majority of us have. But again, if you have the conscience to understand why you're putting on wigs, if I'm putting it correctly, if you are consciously well aware to understand that I'm not doing this because I'm corrupted mentally because I hate my hair, then I don't think there's anything wrong personally, because I do wigs and you guys have seen me with wigs.
No. There's nothing wrong with it, No, there's nothing wrong with it if you know why you're doing it. Most people do it to escape who they are. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Jiba Jab also says that white boys like that.
Yeah, they do. They do, but they like them dark and petite, just like Joby. That's right. I wonder how grandma knew. Grandma might have been dark and petite today. That's what was going on. We're chasing her. You get your own Zungu. What you do, Grandma?
Yes, Joe Mosquito, you're correct. They love that. King Williams, have a good day to you as well. And also, see, Jiba Jaba says Nollywood is the griot and BET on steroids, especially for right here in Africa. Let me tell you, right here in Africa, there's a time Nigeria was just, let alone right now that you can see the music is booming. With these Nollywood movies, Nigeria was on the map. Like the whole of Africa, it was just the topic is Nigeria. Like, yo, what's up with the Nigerians? Yeah, now everyone and every guy wanted to have just a Nigeria in their lives. It's super crazy, and they got that as an opportunity because people got scammed. People got scammed. I also see Jibadala says that that China man Afro was tight. I don't know if have you seen the video? If you've seen it, then I think you know what I'm talking about. But
I haven't seen it.
I screenshotted an image of it where they are now doing their hair, that they're trying to go all Afro, trying to look like this wig of mine. It is super crazy. But I also see John Mosquito says that I ain't heard of no tomato. Are you sure about that? Yes, tomato does work on dark spots. You just continuously with Colgate. That's with it. Tomato and Colgate, the toothpaste. Okay, you just rub it every day, then rinse your armpits. Then they're gonna lighten within time. I'll not advise anyone to use the bleaching creams to just lighten their dark spots.
What?
Tomato, a tomato.
What does that do? For what?
It lightens your the dark spots. Let's say like your armpits. If you have like dark armpits.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's
it.
John Mosquito says that the lighter the hair color, the more light it reflects. And I also see Swale, you're asking, yes, I am. That is Natalie_Joby on Instagram. That's my handle, Natalie_Joby. And also see John Mosquito says that they got a whole Afro salon, in Asian countries. God damn. I'm not surprised. I mean, these people, it's crazy how they hate our culture but want to embrace it and steal it away from us. It's crazy. And also, like to almost say that my new...
You have a whole what now, Asia?
Oh, I'm saying it's John Mosquito says that they got a whole Afro salon in Asian countries. And that's why I'm saying it's crazy how they hate our culture but want to embrace it in their countries and make money off it.
Of course.
Crazy. Like to also ask that my new job is full of African women. I like a little Africa and I love it. It's like a little Africa, and I love it. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Hope you get yourself someone over there, you know. Where's
he at? Where you at? Who got these African women? Where are you at?
I think that's David, if I'm not wrong. That's David, if I'm not wrong. That's the... Yeah, and also John Mosquito says that it's good for salad, brother Keith. That's what it does. Come on. It's good for your armpits as well. Take that for free. Colgate toothpaste and tomato. Or rather, you can use lemon and baking powder, if I'm not wrong.
Does it have to be Colgate? Does it have to be that brand? It can't be Crest or Peppermint, some other... Has to be Colgate, Joby, or just toothpaste itself.
Well, for majority of the cases I've seen, it's any toothpaste. It doesn't have to just be Colgate. Any type of toothpaste that you have.
All right.
You can just use any other brand so long as it's a toothpaste. But anyway, family, we're coming towards the end of the show today. I don't want to take much of the time. I had one more video to share, but I think we can also fathom this maybe on another discussion where this guy was explaining about the existence of white people, the pigmentation of the white people, literally the origin of the white people and the human race. That is what he was talking about. But I don't have much of the time to talk about this, so
that would have been a good one. That would have been a real good one. That would have been a really good one. But also, family, understand, she had Kama Kameen, Booker T. Coleman in there, and so take his stuff with a dye. He keeps talking about the evolution. There was no evolution, family. That's the white man scam when 1800s with Darwin. That's why it's called a theory. Shout out to later Africa. There's nobody rose to no monkey became no human being. That's the scam they've been using since they got control of the world. Now you got to go along with their doctrine. That's a lie. Your whole life you're talking about, a monkey became a man. No, that never happened because there's no missing link. There's no DNA shows that. And like I said, he keeps talking about the same nonsense, knowing that the pure African has no animal genetic, has no monkey DNA. So he couldn't have come from a monkey. But he knows that, but he was a teacher in New York school system, so he's got to promote that lie, unless he would have been fired. All over the world, they got to promote that evolution shit, because when the Europeans got power, that was their fake science. Most of the science we learn today, family, is fake. It's fraudulent. Because to make sure that we don't have new understandings of scientific growth. That's why they study melanin in secret. Everything we learn is all old. That's why you got no new technology. All this stuff we think is like a cell phone and flat screen TV. This stuff was all made back in before I was born. And we think it's new because they now release it to us now. In technology, we're like 150 years behind because we've been stifled because of white supremacy, because they need control. So all the new inventions have been stifled. Like that, like car, which is garbage. Now, I'm not gonna go long, and I know Joe's gotta go. Like the electric car. And shout out to Katie, who was giving that guy, that moron in Kenya that worked. Oh, you don't understand about the electric car. How it's great. How it's gonna change everything. And talking that same nonsense because he don't know that they gave him a job, so he get to spew this bullshit. The electric car, they want you to buy a car, she's like, what, $60,000, right? Just to replace the battery is like $65,000. So the battery goes bad, you can't afford to upkeep of the vehicle. So it ain't cost effective for you to have the nonsense. And China's got so many fake ass cars that they can't even sell them. They got big old, like I showed Katie looked about, show you big old parking lots, big old grass fields of these damn electric cars that they can't sell, that nobody wants, because it's inefficient technology. It's the scam of the elite that run this planet. It's a scam. It's like that Green New Deal, all this windmill and solar panel shit. It's a scam. It's a lie. It's baloney. It don't work. So they try to get you down the electric car. The electric car is garbage. Got people in the Congo digging up for them batteries. It's absolutely garbage. The technology doesn't work because you got clean energy. That Tesla, the real Tesla, not the fake Elon Musk that cameras love, not that fake phony, the real Tesla, the real one, right? The real one from 100 years ago. The real guy called Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla, the real one, who created free energy over 150 years ago, right? But we couldn't use it because the bankers couldn't make money. The bankers couldn't make money. So they said, nah, we got to hide this technology. So there's free energy. So you got cars that can ride for free. You got to shout out to the young Zimbabwe kid who showed you. They don't put that on. Once they found out about it, they tried to murder his ass. The same kid, that's the dude that created the TV from no power, also car, but they tried to, I think he dead. I think they killed his young ass. Because the African mind, if it's left alone and able to think, it invents everything. I think they killed him. Also, the brother, another guy, had a power station. I don't know what's going on in Zimbabwe. They must have got a lot of brilliant kids now all of a sudden. Another, we know they killed him. This guy created a power station, free energy, that could light a whole city. That was on TikTok. I said, oh no. That was on TikTok, right? I said, oh no, don't put that on TikTok. 2 weeks later, I found out they already murdered his ass. They'd already poisoned the black boy. Because he wanted to come show, look what I did, white man. Look what I did, white daddy. Yes, you did good, little black nigga. You did good. But have a time to poison your stupid ass. So all this free energy been existing, family. It tells you the energy problem, these are all lies. The Green New Deal is a lie. Have Africans buying they fucked up technology, impoverishing the African countries, got Arabs buying up all kind of land, talking about carbon credit. African people, melanin is carbon. We are carbon. You can't have zero carbon. That means that'll be us gone. We are carbonated. What do you think melanin is? It's carbon, pure. The building block of life. You got morons out there. We got to get to carbon zero. Carbon zero. Hey, moron. Melanin is carbon, you idiot. Carbon zero means you won't be here, stupid. That's why they don't teach African people science. They talk about science is witchcraft. That's witchcraft. Moron. It's called science. And your African ancestors didn't call it science. They call it spirituality. Because science is attached to spirituality because it's part of the spirit. Part of the unseen world. Spirit. But anyway, I'm going to let Joby go. So much love, family.
Much love.
I know you guys want me to talk about melanin. I thought you guys all about melanin. I thought we already knew all this. So, guys, thank you, Joby, for teaching. I know you guys want me to teach about melanin again. What it does, what it can't do.
we need to learn all about this, because what I've come to understand from the videos I've shared, this is much deeper than the shallow knowledge I think we know, or from the shallow teachings maybe personally I've taught in the few years that I've been here. There's much more that we need to learn, because we also have other audience who are also listening and capturing a thing or two.
Well, that's
Anyway,
true. It's new, that's right. It's always new people coming. That's right. The melanin is very important. That's skin bleaching. But even though people have skin bleach, it's not it gives them skin cancer, but it's the melanin inside the body, family. We have melanin that sits inside our brain, and it ignites when you sun. That's why I told you sun gaze.
Yeah, but
hold on, I'm gonna let you go, Joe. Calm down. We're already late. Calm down.
I'm really happy.
All right, you start. Okay, yeah, okay. Let me just say this. You guys see, you know I was bad. I'm eating better now. All the time I'm bad eating and not drinking white. I only drink water now, Joe Mosquito. So damn you. But my Dr. Pepper. You guys have never seen me sick. You guys have never, even through this pandemic, ever seen me with a cold, a flu, or nothing. Because I learned through sun gazing, family, sun gazing. Get your feet, this African science, get your ass outside, put your feet in the damn soil, and sun gaze. Sun gazing will heal you because you are an electrical being, a light being. See, the body's illusion. I'm sorry that Parvin's sister passed away. I'm not sad about it because, hey, she's not, there's no such thing as death, family. I showed Demore in a Saturday show. This is an illusion. An illusion. There's no such thing as death. And your African ancestors knew that. So charge that melanin so you can make it to the next dimension. That's what you want to do. You want to ascend to the next dimension. I don't want to come back. I don't know how many times I've been here, but I'm done this time. Shit. I want to give me some fourth dimensional coochie, goddammit. Much love.
Family, see you guys later on the King's frequency, and of course, thank you so much to everyone who has been with us on the chat on TikTok. I appreciate. Sorry, hope umepata. My Instagram is full of pictures, so I don't know which Instagram page you went to. Natalie_Joby. That's my account with 7,000 followers or something. There.
Well, I only said it to get your. What about your TikTok? What happened with what about your Instagram? What happened with that?
you go have your amazing lunch. I'm talking to my fans on TikTok. Much love, family.
Go eat your lunch, damn it. Good luck.